Well, to that point, that's where FTR Young Bucks fits in.
Yeah.
Like that is to me the type of thing the show should be about. You know, when we were fantasy booking this on the Ask GRAPPL session, we were like, yeah, absolutely, that's the one. Like
we
that.
all had
that
this
is,
match, didn't we?
Yeah,
we all had this.
And again, I'm not forgiving Tony Khan for not spending the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks building some fucking blood feuds. Like Gareth was spot on when he said that on the weekend show. We should be, you know, Taz and Sabu should be coming to a head here. You know what I mean? It should be like that. That level of, you know, that story is now peaking. We don't have it. If you're gonna throw matches together over these next 3 weeks, that's absolutely one. The two best tag teams in AEW. You've got this long-standing grudge. You've got this real life, you know, element to it. Am I going to get the third match? Absolutely perfect. So I'm really happy with that. So those two ticking a positive box for me.
It's wild.
I'm almost hesitant to say it because Samoa Joe and CM Punk are two of my favorite, probably my two favorite wrestlers of all time. Punk definitely, Joe probably, and not even, maybe even definitely as well, my favorite rivalry of all time in wrestling. This is going to be the biggest show I'm ever going to go to in my life. You know, as far as attendance goes, as far as hopefully prestige goes at Wembley Stadium. And my two favorite wrestlers are going to be paying off a story from my favorite periods in wrestling history. And I don't like it. I don't. For me, this is a match for the sickos. It's a match for those of us who were into that. Like, put it this way, that collision match that they did, I thought that was a great little nod to history. It was a nice little match. It was the start of something fresh. And I can feel myself, you know, turning heel on the legions of ROH bots like me. But I actually think for a Wembley show, I don't think it's the right slot. I really don't. I don't like it. And I think that's me saying I want to see it. Personally, I want it to happen, but I think I've got to be consistent. And how many times on this podcast, as JP alluded to before, have we said that the Wembley Stadium show should be the biggest things you can possibly give? And with all those caveats of, I do want to see the guys wrestle, I love them both. I'm not sure that this is, as far, just look at CM Punk right now in AEW. Is this CM Punk's like number one feud right now? I'd argue it's his third or fourth. I feel like his stuff with Ricky Starks, the stuff with MJF with the belt, even the Jay White stuff.
Jay White, yeah.
I think it's like the third or fourth option when it comes to Punk. And I know that's sacrilege, me saying it. And I almost say this because it's me saying it, because I want to see these two wrestle, but I want to see it done right. I'm not sure 3 weeks out is to announce this for Wembley when they kind of ignored it for the last few weeks is any solution if we're going to be consistent, JP, to the issues we've brought up over the last few weeks. I can't be mad at anybody who looks at that match and goes, oh, it's great for Benno and that, but like that doesn't really scream biggest show ever. I don't think it does. Again, with the caveat of the two of my favorite wrestlers of all time for a reason, give them 3 weeks. Punk's promos. He didn't react to Joe, didn't respond to him, just carried on with his normal stuff on Collision. So there's another week gone. But, you know, we got 3 weeks. I believe in Punk and Joe and their ability to heat this up. I believe in Punk and Joe to deliver on the night itself. And I'm sure when I'm there, again, I'm going to see two of my favorite wrestlers ever. You know, imagine telling me in 2004 that I was going to see this Wembley Stadium, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. Me personally, as a fan, is going to get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But I think to do this right, I think you've got to give it the right build. I think to do this show right, I think Joe is a few notches below Punk in the AEW totem pole. I think Joe is one of those guys we've been talking about the last few weeks, JP, where we've said we want to see top guy versus top guy, not top guy versus guy a few notches below. Got to call a spade in AEW. Well, more to the point, ROH. That's where Joe's been. Joe is that level. Punk is way above him in the totem pole. And they've got 3 weeks to heat it up and get it going. And yeah, I think I probably sound ungrateful as someone this match is specifically for. But I think we've got to be consistent and say this is an 80,000 stadium show. It's not just me, Jamesy, Chris Platt, Joe Mills, and the rest of the lads in the chat who are sat in a corner like
and Joe Lemon.
This is a stadium show.
Yeah,
I don't think that if I was going to give options for Punk matches, I think this would be option 3 or 4. You know, obviously Kenny's your number 1. FTR Bucks is happening. Why can't that? Maybe there's reason, maybe not. But yeah, for me, it's that. I probably would have done it all out. You know, I'd be massively happy with it being an all out match. As an all in match, I'm not sure if it's.
As an all out.
I can't believe it, Benno. It saves me saying it anyway. At least you've said it all.
Was that what you were going to say? I've been avoiding on Discord with this because I've seen like 4 or 5 people go, I bet Benno's happy. And I'm like, I should be, but like, I don't know. Well, I think I'd rather be right than happy. Is that the problem, JP?
There is. And that's a big thing, is it? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? That's a question that we always have to like. That's a more metaphysical question than anything else. But I think in this case, it feels like is the best use of CM Punk him facing the Ring of Honor television champion. I would argue not. And not with a kind of build like this. If it was the only situation, to be honest, where you have this match is if there's an injury late on and you go, oh, we need a replacement. We'll put Joe in there. He's big enough and we can get away with that. The problem is for me, the result is kind of telegraphed, isn't it? And I have to say, the way they've presented Joe without the CM Punk stuff last couple of weeks, I've really kind of enjoyed that. Like I have. I've thought, this is the kind of so to heat Joe up actually doesn't take that long. But it takes longer than 3 weeks. That would be it. You can do a few months, you can get away with it because if you can have Joe squashing people, because he squashes people brilliantly. So, and I think you can get to that kind of stage
that's all he's been doing. He was on fucking Collision last week. He squashed Gravity. Like after that Gravity match, did anybody think, oh yeah, that's the man facing Punk at Wembley? Is it? I mean, is it me, Matt? It just feels random.
It's so random.
It feels like a plan because, like Lanza said on Voices, like the setup for this for All In and the card has been a mess. It's been everything we think it is from the outside. It's like last week I was fucking arguing against Grado and Jeff Jarrett. I love them. I love them both. I don't want to see them in a singles match at Wembley. I don't think it's a controversial thing to say.
It's just in the chat.
We had this on the weekend.
Chris Elliott in the chat was suggesting Satnam Singh and Jeff Jarrett versus Grado and Big Show. That'd be hilarious. If you had it all, well, it wouldn't work all out.
That's a Rampage match, JP.
That's a house. Like when they're doing a tour and we're sick of the sight of them over here, that's the kind of matches that you put on while you're kind of like around the place doing like Dynamite or whatever when it's live on TNT Sports.
Yeah, Benno, even I know, as you're saying there, you're right. Like the Ricky Stark stuff is what he's doing on telly, but Punk's trying to juggle these four feuds at once. I think that's what he's going for, though, Benno. I watched Collision this week, and it does seem that what he's going for. As you say, he blanked Joe, didn't he? He basically did.
Which is going to pay off, I assume, next week. But
yeah, of course.
It just feels just like it's plucked out of thin, like this. Okay, we're doing this now, and it's like I don't think it. I think it would be easy for me to sit here with me ROH fucking belt behind me and be like, fuck it, CM Punk Samoa.
Fair play, Benno, fair play.
I'm not helping the argument here to people just thinking we're miserable either, JP. Like, they're literally giving me a favor.
I've got a backdrop of hell behind me. Like, I don't think,
I am the target audience. But again, is it the message board the thing of being right rather than happy? That's the problem here. But like, I think we've got to be consistent and say that's not a Wembley Stadium match based on how they've treated this feud, based on where Joe is in the AEW ecosystem, based on the fact that they're going to be in front of 80,000 people. That's kind of it for me. That's what this show should be. I think we've got high expectations for it, JP. Maybe this shines a light on the fact that like our expectations are so fucking high that like maybe we're never going to be happy. But I don't think those expectations are being met.
No, they're not. And at time of recording, this is the 4th biggest show of all time. It's overtaken WrestleMania 3.
Yeah,
like 78,189 in terms of distribution. They've got 5,859 tickets left. The current setup, which obviously they can expand upon if they choose to do that. And I'm not sure a headlock spot is necessarily going to be the thing that kind of works in an ironic subtext during.
That hit me in the heart, that JP. Now I'm going to defend.
I know, and I love that because we spoke about it. But when you're at Chicago Ridge Fieldhouse or wherever it was, like that stuff is brilliant. I think even in Chicago, like this is the kind of stuff where you can kind of get like as an all-out match. I'm perfectly like fine with this. Like I really am. I think that's like a good match to go to that you can kind of rely on after the bells and whistles of All In. And these are the things that kind of worry me in terms of direction, because if you think this is the best use of Punk, then do you know what you have? Like in that case, because this isn't going to be. I don't see this. It's funny because it's been said ever since the MJF Cole announcement. There's been solid ticket sales going on.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's combined with the advertising and things lack thereof, but minimal advertising that they're doing, and I don't think this will help shift tickets. I don't. Maybe to the elapsed Challenge TV watcher of TNA Impact back in the day.
They've all got the tickets, JP, especially the diehards like that who want to see that match. They've all
the
got
entirety of their TV audience is going to this. Fuck knows who's buying it over here. Like, this show.
There's still nothing wrong with that, though. You want to please your fan base. You want to, but again, I don't know if they've done enough to make this an AEW feud. Like maybe they'll heat it up in the next few weeks, but it just felt like it was forgotten about. It's like if they threw Nigel and Bryan together again. That was another one where I got a lot of like ats going. Oh, bet Benno's excited. No, I want to see fucking the corpse of Nigel McGuinness get in there and get another concussion against Bryan Danielson. Like I don't want to see it. Not at Wembley anyway. Like maybe somewhere else. But yeah.
Does he get rammed into the post after he does pick a card, any card? And he just gets fucking dragged in by Danielson. That would be a fun spot.